Right, inshallah, we'll start with the questions. If the brothers have questions, inshallah. Wallahu alam. Father Akhi Umar.
I was going to ask about tafsir. Which ones would you recommend for the beginner to start looking at, especially with English translations as well?
Right. As far as tafsir, which tafsirs would you advise with for a beginner? Then I would say in Arabic, Al-Jalalain is one of the best, if not the best, beginner's tafsir. Simple, concise, short, and most importantly, it enriches your language. It will enrich your Arabic, and it shows you to learn and study the Quran and its tafsir with a tafsiriyah. Now, learning the something of a synonym for the Quranic terms, or giving you one view. Tafsir al-Jalalain, that's first and foremost. As far as English, then I would say the tafsir of Sheikh Sulaiman Ashqar, rahimahullah ta'ala, which is Zubdat al-Tafsir. Is the whole entire tafsir translated? I'm unaware, I'm unsure of that, but I know for sure many parts, smaller juz, the amma, etc. are. All right? Then inshallah ta'ala, perhaps you can work your way up to other tafsirs. But I will start off with that one in English. Wallahu ta'ala alam. Shahriya, fadal.
How did the Salaf have such memory where they did lessons the whole day, and then when they went home at night, they wrote down everything from memory?
How did the Salaf have such great memory? Memory power, strength of memory. Memorizing all day, writing at night. Tayyib, I would say, wallahu alam, that is going to be min janibain. Okay, there is a phenomenal paranormal aspect, supernatural, whatever you want to call it, and then there's a tangible, practical aspect. As far as the first, then Allah Azza wa Jal, He inspired them. He endowed them. He blessed them. And He used them. Ista'malahum lihifdi dinihi. All right? He used them for the preservation of His religion. And He gave them those khudurat for that purpose. That's first and foremost. Idna nahnu wa idna lahu aywa. All right? So that's first and foremost. Secondly is, like we said many times before, the Salaf al-Salih, may Allah be pleased with them, they lived in a different time, in a different place. They didn't just have the convenience of an ink pen. They didn't have the convenience of paper. They didn't have the convenience of a screenshot. They didn't have the convenience of GPS or this or that. Things which are blessings, but at the same time, curses. They weaken and weaken and weaken and weaken your memory, right? Let alone, they didn't have what we had. I mean, just think how many colors right now are in this one room. Everybody look around for a second. How many colors do you see? How many patterns do you see? How many designs, how many labels and logos do you see? Everywhere. They didn't live like that. Things were simple, basic, and easy. Green, brown, tan, blue, black, red. Basic, simple colors. The trees, the sand, the dirt, the water, the night, that was it. So they didn't get exposed to the things that we're getting exposed to, which weaken one's memory. And you'd be shocked when you find out how long an image stays in a person's mind on average. Anybody know? It takes a long time to leave your head, if it even leaves. So the Salaf, they never lived like this. Right? It's different sounds. Let alone the ma'asi, the sins. They had the ability to walk down the street and close their ears. Here, you close your ears will be closed, what? Totally on. In your own house, you enter your house. A family member, a father, this one, that one. Yes, malagani. You get what I'm trying to say? You're at the gas station, pouring gas. Not in a club, not trying to listen to this, and it comes on the TV screen. Everywhere you look, there's nakedness. Nakedness. Men and women just being naked. Children with no clothes on. People dressing their children with skimpy, tiny, short clothes. Everywhere you look is nakedness. Let alone actual direct fahisha, calling you to zina. Now, and of course, even worse in you guys' generation, homosexuality. It wasn't like that when we were growing up. Things were a bit different. Of course, there were people that were lesbians, homosexuals, but it wasn't nothing like how it is today. It was on the side, this and that. You had to hide this and that. It's like bang, boom, in your face. All right? From the moment that you wake up, the moment you go to sleep, school, you eat breakfast, the cereal box, wherever you look, it's fawahish, zina. So all of these things weaken one's memory, right? And the simplicity and the ease of life. The different meals that we eat. A lamb shank and rice. That was a meal for a king. That was a feast, right? Right. So all of these things prevent you from having the memory that the Salaf what? Had. Walakin, even with that, a Muslim is already ahead of the pack. A Muslim is already futuristic. That's the bottom line. You see different priests, when they do marriages, when they speak at a funeral, what do they have with them at the gravesite? They have a what? A book. And he does what? He reads the supplication what? Is this not the case? The imam is doing what? Period. You're not reading from a prayer book. Your prayer, your everything is in your heart. So the Muslim is already ahead of the rest of the people. If you're a talib ilm, you study, then you're what? Even more. You're inshallah ta'ala trying to be like Ahlul Hadith. Qala al-Bukhari rahimahullah. Reading from Bukhari directly, you're what? You're already ahead of the pack. Right? So even with all of the distractions and problems, you can still memorize a lot, much more than the average person today. So be mindful of reading their biographies, learning from them. However, tilka ummatun qad khalat. What they had is not, you're not going to get what they had. That was virtue specific for them. Wallahu alam. Fadil akhi Adam. Wa iyyakum.
So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he اختار الزوجات.
خيرها.
خيرهم.
وهن اختار.
Yes. I mean, it's another game you can play right now. But what if like I did it or anybody else did it, and they اختاروا
فراق.
Yeah. الطلاق هذا؟
هو ذا. لأنه خيرها. يعني وكلها. أنت وكيل نفسك. والله أعلم. أمجد.
Sheikh, what's the minimum needed to attain ijma'?
What is the minimum needed to attain ijma'? In general, there are two types of ijma'. There is the ijma' which is يعني صريح, is يعني منطق به, منقول. Alright? There are scholars or a scholar that clearly says it. And this scholar is يعني mu'tamad. He's reliable. Or the Sahaba, they say, we agreed. We didn't differ, so on and so forth. It's clear. And then the second type of ijma', in which something is said, something is done, no one goes against it, no one says otherwise, no one takes another view, which is called ijma' sukuti. Alright? And the scholars, they differ on, is the latter a type of ijma' or not? Okay? So therefore, what is the minimum? Some scholars say is the ulama, the knowledgeable, learned scholars, that's ijma', and not the 9 to 5 people. And other scholars, they say rather ijma' of everyone, of a whole entire period of time. Understand? So there are different types of ijma', and you're going to study this, Hamza, in usul al-fiqh, like dalil. What's dalil? Is qawl sahabi dalil? Qawl tabi'i, amal al-Madinah, is that dalil? You study that in usul al-fiqh. And there are different issues pertaining to ijma'. And surprisingly enough, there is ijma' on many issues of ijma'. And there is khilaf on many issues of ijma'. You understand how it works? And this is why, of course, the last thing I'll say, not to make the answer too long or too dramatic, many scholars have rejected, not necessarily ijma', but they've rejected the fake ijma'. And what the people claim to be ijma'. Just like we said, when a person claims and says this is the way of the Salaf. He just claims it without it actually being what? مذهبهم فعلا. ما حقق يعني you get the point I'm trying to make? Anybody just saying this is the real deal, the real McCoy. And it's not the real McCoy, okay? So therefore some scholars they have said the famous statement of Imam Ahmed, من ادعى الإجماع فقد كذب ليته لعلهم اختلفوا. Whoever says that they have agreed is lying. How does he know that they didn't differ? Meaning, it's difficult to trace the ijma'. Ijma' Sahaba is a bit easier. Ijma' of this time, but to just claim it, cheap, open, ijma'. It's consensus. It's consensus that this tea is the best tea. Who said that? All tea drinkers in the world agree that this is the best tea? You get the point I'm trying to make? So you got to be careful with regards to that. And some people, they say ijma' and they mean jumhur or jamahir. So you have to study all of that. Right? Wallahu alam. From online.
TA, Bronx, New York. Is it permissible for a different person to lead the Jumu'ah prayer instead of the Khatib?
Yes, inshallah ta'ala, there's no prohibition for that. Wallahu alam.
MA, Bronx, New York. If a woman has her husband sign a divorce letter she wrote, will the divorce be valid, or does the husband have to be the one to write it?
It is not a condition that the husband wrote the letter. If the wife wrote the letter, the husband knew what was in the letter, he agreed to the letter. Wallahu alam.
YOGTA Canada. Assalamu alaikum. What is the ruling on guessing the rest of the ayah if you forgot or are not sure?
Guessing the rest of the ayah if you forgot, if you aren't sure. You're not guessing it. If your memory is a little shaky, you're trying to complete it based off of what you previously studied, what you think. So it's not necessarily guessing. Something that you're totally a blind shot. إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَهْدِي الْقَوْمَ الْكَافِرِينَ فَاسِقِينَ ظَالِمِينَ. Right? وَاللَّهُ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٌ وَاللَّهُ عَلِيمٌ حَكِيمٌ وَاللَّهُ حَكِيمٌ عَلِيمٌ. You're not guessing, you're trying to complete your memory, which may be a little or weak. As far as sheer guessing, obviously that's a whole different story. Wallahu alam.
UH, Long Island, New York. How should one advise his parents to go to a convention with deviant speakers?
How should one advise his parents to or to not to go?
It says to go to a convention with deviant speakers.
What's important is be careful what you say about people. You may consider someone a deviant. They may not be a deviant. You may consider someone to be deviant. Your parents may not consider them to be deviant. Let alone the fact that what's deviant to you may be beneficial for them. And it's very important when it comes to dawah and dawah wars and talking about people. We warn from this person, stay away from him, don't listen to him, blah, blah, blah. For this person right here, I say listen to him, listen to Fulan. Because he was the reason why this person started making salat. And why she put on a khimar and an overgarment. And started identifying himself as a Muslim. As far as him, this student of knowledge, this advanced person, I say what? Don't listen to him. There's better. There's. So yeah, it depends. It depends. You can't just broad brush everything, right? Al-Muhim, for argument's sake, there are deviant people at a deviant conference. You be honest with your parents. And most importantly, give them an alternative. Don't go to this conference this weekend, but inshallah, I'll take you to another. That's better. Well, hakadha. Be careful what you say. And be careful throwing around that term deviant. Very, very, very mindful of your tongue. Wallahu alam.
JJ, Mogadishu, Somalia. Assalamu alaikum. My family is building a masjid. Is it permissible to allow a Sufi sheikh to lead the masjid and school? The community is majority Sufi.
Everybody understand? We got it or not? The majority of the people are Sufi, quote unquote, right? The people there that are trying to pray, trying to learn, trying to do the basics of Islam, you say, no, his sheikh is a Sufi. What's going to happen? You get the point. Then there's an alternative. That's a different story. Wallahu ta'ala alam.
Boy, London, UK. The hadith about Allah being happier than the man who loses his camel in the desert and finds it again, how authentic is this? Can we say that's 100% true?
What's important is we believe in Allah, and we believe in what has been mentioned from Allah, and we believe in the manner in which Allah wanted us to believe. Period. When the servant repents to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah is happy. And Allah loves when the sinful servant returns to Him. End of discussion. Next question.
HS Sarajevo, Bosnia. Is it haram to go out in public with someone who is openly committing sins? For example, going out with someone who doesn't wear proper hijab, or a man who shaves his beard.
One can say in the time of the Salaf, you can't go out with someone who's doing these plain acts of disobedience. As far as 2023, then my mother doesn't wear the proper hijab. My father shaves his beard. This person, these things are everywhere. And the basics of Islam are so strange, so unknown. So oftentimes you want to say the truth. Let's be honest now. There may be a brother who shaves his beard, which is haram. La yajuz. He may be a good Muslim. He prays, he fasts, he gives zakah. He's an honest person. He's a straightforward person, but he's just following the tradition of most of the people of the country who shave their beards. Lil asaf. So I'm gonna boycott that person, leave that person. Kaif yani. That's a huge problem. All right. In Islam qad bada'a ghariban. Islam began as something strange. وَسَيَعُودُ غَرِيبًا, and it will return to being something strange. فَطُوبَى لِلْغُرَبَاءِ. So therefore, give advice to the people. Be gentle with the people. Don't be too critical and too judgmental to the people. And never ever pull the people past their speed limit. Alright? Wallahu alam.
WA, Brooklyn, New York. Can I say my regular dhikr in sujood and then make dua and then make dhikr again? And can I repeat different dhikr during ruku', sujood, then say another dhikr and then repeat the previous one?
Make the prophetic supplications in ruku' and sujood. Period. Once you've made the standardized prophetic supplications, if you want to ask Allah for something in your sujood, tayyib. And one of the best places, if not the best place, one of the best places to ask Allah for something in a prayer is after the tashahhud. Before the taslim. Wallahu ta'ala alam.
AM, Schenectady, New York. How much should loose leaf tea cost in order for it to be good?
How much does loose leaf tea cost in order to be good? There's no standard price. Some merchants are costly, some are, more economic. It depends on the tea, how fresh it is, what type of tea it is, where it's from. There is no one specific standard price for loose leaf tea. But the general rule is that, let's say a pound or 4 ounces of loose leaf tea should not cost the same as the box of tea bags. You get 100 bags of tea for $3. Loose leaf tea cannot be $3. It should be at least double, if not 3 times more. And of course, there are different types of tea bags. Some boxes of tea bags are very fine quality, but the loose leaf is what? Superior. As we've explained in the video. All right? But there is no one rule. Wallahu alam.
WA, Brooklyn, New York. If a male is praying at home, is it still best for him to cover his head? What are some virtues for a man to cover his head?
When you stand in front of Allah in prayer, cover as much as you can. خُذُوا زِينَتَكُمْ. Even if you're praying at home, yes, you shouldn't wear pants. You should cover your head, even if you're praying at home and you're not in the masjid, for sure. As far as some of the virtues of covering the head, then the Prophet ﷺ, he covered his head. In most cases, most instances, his head was covered, especially in public. Second of all, hair is a means of beauty. It's a means of adornment. Your hair is nice. Your do, right? Your wig, your shape up is sharp, right? It's razor. When a man goes bald, what happens? How does he feel? يخجل صح؟ الأصلع عيب ولا مو عيب؟ Feeling. So when they start going bald, it's mushkila. Proving that the hair is a what? Beauty. So therefore, خُذُوا زِينَتَكُمْ عند كل مسجد أكمل الآية. وكلوا واشربوا ولا تسرفوا. ظالمين كافرين فاسقين. Can you guess? مسرفين. طيب. المهم, cover your head. Yes, these are some of the virtues, is that it is أقرب إلى التواضع. It's closer to humility in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wallahu alam. Last but not least, covering your head for the salah, I think, will get you into a better salat mood. It'll put you in that mental preparatory state. It's time to pray. This, that, this, wudu, miswak, etc. Just like the state trooper, he pulls you over, he puts on the what? It's not the case. He may not have had the hat on when he pulled you over, but when he gets out, he what? He puts the hat on, letting you know that it's what? On the streets, right? You put down the what? It's time to go into action. And any culture is like this. A chef doesn't have to have a hat, but if you see the chef with the hat, the French hat, you know that he's what? He's ready to cook. Wahakada. Naam, wallahu alam.
WA Brooklyn, New York. Can you please give a brief summary about the difference of opinion regarding Salatu Khayrun min al-Nawm being a part of Fajr Adhan? Jazakallahu khair.
It's a part of the Fajr Adhan for sure. However, in the time of the Prophet ﷺ, there were different adhans. There were different mu'adhins. So there's one prayer, which is a prayer for the nighttime. Right? إِنَّهُ يُؤَذِّنُ بِلَيْلٍ فَكُلُوا وَاشْرَبُوا حَتَّى يُؤَذِّنَ مَنْ. How many mu'adhins were there in the time of the Prophet?
2.
Who were they?
Bilal.
Bilal,
Abdullah ibn Maktoum.
Ibn Maktoum, there's 2. 2 more that remain. For the most famous ones. Al-Muhim, one Sahabi making the adhan, telling the people to rest. Stop making prayer. Stop the qiyam. Sit down, rest, relax. And the second Sahabi making the adhan when there's actual what? Dukhul al-subh. That is the adhan in which there is as-salatu khayrun min al-nawm. Wallahu alam.
AJ, Cincinnati, Ohio. Assalamu alaikum. When looking for a spouse, how close in religion and adherence should the potential be? And what do you think are possible negotiables?
Well, I think that every young man and every young woman, or older brother, older sister, whatever the case may be, you have to have at least 5 solid musts and 5 solid must-nots, which are unnegotiable. She has to have these, it could be 10, but these 5 things, period. And if, or the opposite, she can't have any of these 5 things. Shurut intifa'iyya. Shurut walilla. طيب. As far as the negotiable things, then it's anything that doesn't fall under those 5 or those 3 or those 10. It's just that simple. So in most cases, a man says, I want a wife that's younger than me. But that isn't a part of my 5 must or must nots. And because she has so much knowledge of the deen, I'll marry her even though she's older than me. Because she's so attractive, I'll marry her even though she's older than me. Because such and such. So you negotiate things based off of percentage and ratio. This is so strong here, we'll overlook that. But not among the arkan. Buni al-Islamu ala khamsin. Things in which have to be or they can't be. No matter how beautiful she is, a must not, she cannot be a woman who doesn't wear hijab. There's nothing to negotiate. From day one, I met her, she doesn't wear hijab, done, period, end of discussion. I'm going to wear it, I'm going to change, nope. Move on to the next. Never compromise on your arkan. Wallahu alam.
OR Buffalo, New York. How does one balance spreading knowledge and handling jealousy amongst elders who think that you are putting yourself forward?
Seeking knowledge and or in light of the elders who think that you're putting yourself forward. I don't understand the question. If I'm seeking knowledge, what does that have to do with me putting myself forward? Giving dawah, teaching classes is different, a different discussion. Of course, إِنَّمَا يُطْلُبُ الْعِلْمِ لِيُفَادَ مِنْهُ. That's the only reason why we seek knowledge, is to benefit ourselves and others for dawah. However, you're not there yet. I'm still a trainee. Padawan, right? You're not a what? Nah, you aren't a what? Hey, well, walk at their levels. All right, so don't rush. Seek knowledge. Take your time. Don't worry about giving no classes, teaching no classes, none of that yet. Inshallah ta'ala. And not only will that help you to seek knowledge better, but that will, inshallah ta'ala, help you against the jealousy or the perceived jealousy of some elders. And maybe the elders aren't jealous, but maybe you are too hasty and you're putting yourself forward in front of the people incorrectly. من استعجل الشيء قبل أوانه أكملوا يا شباب عوقب بحرمانه. He who rushes and hastens a thing before its proper time will be prevented from getting that thing. You cannot hasten the bloom of the flower. So we have explained this many times in seeking knowledge, that you cannot procrastinate. And at the same time, you can't be too hasty, especially in teaching and giving dawah. You can't just rush into it. And of course, the social media world, you know, YouTube personalities, influencers, LOL sheikhs, whatever the case may be, YouTube comedians, Instagram, whoever, people, it is ruinous to that proper madhab. And it's just easy for me to just post myself saying this, quoting this. So slow down. Wallahu alam.
WA, Brooklyn, New York. What's some easy ways we can apply Birrul Walidain?
Birrul walidain. Buy your parents a gift every week. Take your parents out to dinner once a month. Give them something that you know that they like. And don't worry about what other people say. If your mother is pleased with one rose, you buy her one rose. You don't have to take her out if she's happy with that. Wallahu alam.
WA, Brooklyn, New York. If a woman is alone in the house, should she make the adhan? If she gave the adhan, then her husband, father, son, etc. come in. Should they not make the adhan since she did already?
Scholars of Islam differ on a woman making the adhan. They differ on that. And perhaps the correct view is that if a woman can make the adhan without being around non-mahram men, yajuz, inshallah, permissible. So if a woman makes the adhan in the house, the men are not going to the masjid is far, they have an excuse not to go, whatever, khayran. And if that's not the case, the men should go to the masjid. And if that's not the case, then the man should make the adhan. Wallahu ta'ala alam.
AJ, Cincinnati, Ohio. Have you ever had yerba mate, Sheikh? If
Yes.
so, what do you think about it?
This is very good. I've had it before. I've had the different versions of it. It's good. It's good.
JJ, Mogadishu, Somalia. Can you elaborate on my question? If I have another Sheikh who is not Sufi, should we allow to him to lead the masjid, even though he would be counter to the Sufi community?
If you're in control of the masjid, and then it's your job and your responsibility to appoint the imam. في يدك نصب الإمام فانصب من فيه خير. من هو على العقيدة الصحيحة. ولا تنصب من فيه غير ذلك. If you're in charge, you place in charge who needs to be put in charge, regardless of the people. If you're not in charge, then that's a different story. Okay? What's important is this is difficult. It happens all of the time. The community is, let's say, quote unquote, Sufi, quote unquote, and someone is the imam who isn't Sufi. Of course, there's going to be some roughness. They're looking for something, they're used to things, they're accustomed to things. So the imam who isn't a Sufi, he has to come in slowly, smoothly. And one of the worst mistakes, in my humble opinion, of a leader is coming and reforming everything overnight. You'll send the people into shock. You cannot reform and change everything overnight. You have to do it gradually and progressively. And you cannot disrespect the people. Even if you tell them that it's wrong, no one wants to be told that their culture is baseless and batil and everything they've been doing their whole lives is all bid'ah and shirk. That's going to push the people away from him. Last but not least, any new imam who's going against the tide, against the waves, the people, he's not preaching to the choir. They're not in agreement with everything he says and does. he has to first win the following things. He must win their respect. He must win their trust, earn their trust, and he must win their love. Respect, trust, and love. If he gets these three things, they'll eat from his hand. They respect you and your knowledge, your scholarship. They don't agree with you, you're this, you're that, you're not Sufi, but they respect your Quran, they respect your language, they respect your ilm. Secondly, they trust you, that you won't lie to them, and that you won't hide things from them. And you'll tell them something that goes against what they want to hear. They trust you, even if they don't agree with you, but they trust you. They believe that you're quoting from the correct sources. Last but not least, you get them to love you as a person. You're Salafi, Wahhabi, whatever, they're Sufi. But he's a good guy. He's a nice guy. He smells good all the time. He never smells bad. He's friendly. He smiles. He's kind. Right? He's a good imam. He comes to the masjid on time. How could they begin to love you? Human nature. Human nature. Right? So just focus on that, inshallah, and leave the rest to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And through time, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, things will change. Right? Through time, things will change. And of course, focus on the children. Focus on the youth. Focus on the younger generations. And do not fight with them on every single issue, every single mas'ala. Do not clash with the elders in the community and call them bad names. You're going to destroy yourself and destroy that community. Wallahu alam.
There's a question about Ahlul Bid'ah.
Khawarij.
They're asking about a particular group. What they're not.
Next question.
WA Brooklyn, New York. Can I give charity on behalf of Muslims while they're still alive, like my parents? Is that recommended to do? Do I get the same reward even though I'm giving that donation on their behalf?
Give donations for yourself. Make dua for your parents. When your parents die and they leave this world, give sadaqah on their behalf. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam.
AI Birmingham.
Father Sharia.
Assalamu alaikum. How do we maximize the benefit from your classes before the class, during the class, and after the class? You mentioned one thing about researching. What else should we do?
Maximizing the benefit is preparing for the class. You know, this is the chapter we're going to read and explain. Read it before. Read it ahead of time. Memorize it. Write down your questions or your problems. If you have the ability to read Nawawi Sharh, read Nawawi Sharh. Cross-reference it with another book, another explanation. Read it, read the issues in the fiqh book, etc. Read the tafsir of those ayat that you know are in the chapter. And as far as after the class, summarize the class for yourself, and maybe you can even publish the summary for others. Right? Transcribe the class, word for word, not a summary. Right? Review the class, memorize the class. And most importantly, pay zakat on the class. You got the class for free. Now you have to pay something. Share the benefits with people in your social media, your family, your friends, etc. Wallahu alam. Hamza.
Can you explain the hadith where Sa'd al-Kurdi said, raise your voice so for whoever hears it, whether it's a jinn or a creature, will be a witness for you when you're making adhan? And what kind of points can we get from this, and how loud should we be? And is it considered, like, if you use a mic, do you still get...
Like, the virtue of making the adhan, even if you're by yourself. You never know who's listening. You never know who's going to respond and answer your call. So you make the adhan. That's first and foremost. One of the main benefits from that hadith. Secondly is, the microphone, it has its benefits and it has its harms. It has its benefit and it has its harms. If it was up to me, I would say that the adhan should be made outside and not in the masjid. And some scholars even say that it's bid'ah to do that, to make the adhan dakhil al-masjid. بعضهم يقول أنه bid'ah. Right? The adhan should be made outside. The people should hear from the outside. Okay? That's first and foremost. As far as using a speaker, whatever the case may be, then hopefully it's included in that. But obviously, the Prophet ﷺ is speaking to the Sahabi with regards to his natural voice and raising your voice. Right? So there are harms in technology just like there are benefits in technology. What's important is if you're making the adhan with the microphone, then you can't be but so loud. And that's a mushkil, that's a problem. So the voice should be raised with the adhan. That's a fact. But you have to take into consideration the situation in which you're in, and the microphone and how loud it's going to be, so on and so forth. Wallahu ta'ala alam. Adam.
شيخ جزاك الله
وإليكم.
السؤال الأول برينا وهل هي متاحة في الإسلام؟
طيب.
في الدراسة.
المؤمنون على شروطهم. إن اتفق هو وهي على شيء لا يخالف الكتاب والسنة فذاك المسلمون مؤمنون على ايش؟ شروطهم. إن اتفق يعني أهله وأهلها على شيء خير، لكن الشروط لا تخالف الأحكام. لا يكون إجحاف، لا يكون ظلم، لا يكون يعني إرهاق، يعني قصر الظهور، مشاكل وأشياء تخالف المقصود من النكاح أصلا. وما أكثر هذه الأشياء. يعني أنت راح تدفع وإن طلقتها وإن ويأخر شو هذا؟ عرفت كيف؟ والله أعلم.
السؤال الثاني في وقت الصلاة العصر
ماله؟
لما تبحث عنها تصير لك 440 445. بعض المساجد يأدون ويصلون الستة
الأحناف
أمين
في الغالب.
إيه.
المسألة معروفة مشهورة، الأحناف هذا مذهبهم
دائما
كذا،
سبحان
هذا وقت الأفضلية عندهم. المسألة صراحة فيها طول.
لماذا؟ لأن
لا هم يختلفون في تفسير وتأويل الأحاديث الواردة. الجمهور
إن الصلاة
بس هذا عندهم الوقت، هم يختلفون في التأويل، الفهم المراد المقصود يعني بالأحاديث الواردة في أوقات الصلوات. هذا سبب خلافهم، لا أنهم يعرضون عن السنة ويهملون السنة، لا ليس هكذا، وإنما لهم فهم ولهم تأويل. صح التأويل أم لم يصح، وافقتهم أم خالفتهم، لكنهم مجتهدون في المسألة. فهمت علي؟
ما هي
هذا فيه طول.
الطويلة؟
فهمتني؟ السلام عليكم. هذا فيه طول. يعني باختصار الواحد لو صلى عندهم، يعني ليست المسألة عارية، ليست عارية يعني باطلة، يعني لا أصل لها، لا، هناك أصل. هل نوافق هل نخالف؟ المهم لهم أصل. علماء الأحناف هم مجتهدون. فهمتني؟ إن شاء الله بعد الدرس يعني لعلي أطلق على بعض الكلام، تقرأ لنفسك مثلا في نيل الأوطار، تجد الكلام المفصل في المسألة تلك. والله أعلم. عمر.
Assalamu alaikum.
السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
So, I remember earlier you said about systematically seeking knowledge. And what do you exactly mean systematically? Like order of topics, or like what exactly is the progression? Like how would you define it?
Abdul Raqid, what do we mean when we say systematically seeking knowledge? What's tadarruj mean? I'm sorry, I speak English. Step by step. Not all over the place. Here, class, a sheikh, step by step. The proper steps. That's one meaning of systematic. Another meaning of systematic is that you master the book before you move on to another. Another meaning of systematic is that you don't study a book without a teacher. And a bad teacher is better than a good book. That's a quotable. Inshallah. And أستاذ سيء أفضل من إيش؟ لا شك في ذلك. A bad teacher is better than a good book. Understand? So there are many meanings of systematic. Taking your time, taking progressive steps, having a teacher, not quitting and not giving up. And that's one of the biggest problems. As I say these words, how many brothers are what? They promised, right? It won't be me. It won't be me, Sheikh. I'm not going to stop. I'm going to stay. I'm going to stay. Where do you see them now? Gone. For one reason or another. They moved on to better teachers, bigger teachers. You see them, they're not even what? Studying. So you cannot quit. And one of the reasons why brothers quit is they don't have the proper guidance. One of the reasons why brothers quit is that they think seeking knowledge is just romantic and mashallah, oh, brother fulan. They don't understand that it's hard work. Like we said about the NBA, right? For every 3-pointer that he makes, he shot and missed how many? That you don't see. Hours and hours and hours of practice. So all you see is just the whoosh, the all net. That's all you see. But you don't see about the hard back-breaking hours in the gym perfecting that shot. So many brothers, they look at knowledge as being something fun and super nice, and mashallah, he's the man, and that's it. Nice stove, nice pens, the pretty sisters want to marry him, mashallah, and that's it. It's back-breaking work. And you don't realize that unless you have a good teacher that can say, listen, young blood, let me school you. You understand? Let me tell you. All right? Also, another reason why brothers quit is that they take things that are too difficult for them. Like fiqh. The different khilafat. Malik, Abu Hanifa, Shafi, fulan. Oh, yadur ras. You're not supposed to be studying fiqh like that. ليس هكذا. Okay? علم شيء بعد الشيء. يعني step by step. فسالت أودية. شباب. بقدرها. فسالت أودية. بقدرها. Allah says that the valleys flow what? Their due measure. Understand? So this is what we mean when we say systematic. I would advise you to read The Way of the Disciple if you haven't read it already. The Way of the Disciple. Fadda. Salam wa barakatuh.
أنا يوسف موريتانيا. هل يجوز أن تعلق صورة لآيات قرآنية للمتجر أم
فهمت عليك. أجازها بعض أهل العلم. بعضهم قالوا يعني لا شيء. ومنهم من قال بل يبتعد عن هذا. الظاهر والله تعالى أعلم إذا علقت هذه الصور أو هذه الآيات لتعظيم كتاب الله أو للتذكر والتذكير ولا تهانوا ولا تساء إليها. بعضهم يعلق الآيات مثلا آية الكرسي في منزله ويشتم يصب يشاهد ما لا يليق في التلفاز يكون شجارات ورفع الأصوات هذا إهانة. فيعني إذا إن علقت بهذه المقاصد الطيبة وهي تحترم وتعظم فكما قلت لك أجازها كثير من أهل العلم. إن شاء الله ليس فيها شيء إن شاء الله في المنزل أو في المتجر أو في أي مكان. ولا شك يعني الواحد إذا كان في مكان إذا ثم في مكان يحب أن يكون هذا المكان شخصية إسلامية يكون يعني يعرف. عرفت؟ والله تعالى أعلم. طارق.
Way of the Disciple, under Titanic Struggle, you discuss a balance between pure intentions and hard work, ihsan, and then a balance between ihsan and humbleness, seeing yourself as small.
As nothing.
As nothing.
Not small.
And you make a statement at the very end, you say the battlefield is your heart and mind, the weapon being your conscience. That statement there, I was hoping you could
The
expand.
gateless
Gate.
Next question. You already thought about it. If you're thinking, then that means what?
My cup's full?
Not that, but it's done. The knowledge is dead. It's no longer alive when you're thinking about it. When your eyes squinting like that. But yeah, the battlefield is your conscious. The weapon is your conscious. The battlefield is your mind. It's not a battlefield with guns and weapons, rockets and missiles, but it's here and here, here and here. Who am I seeking knowledge for? What am I seeking knowledge for? Why am I sitting in front of you guys? To sit in front of you, to answer the questions, mashallah, blah, 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 blah. Or am I sitting in front of you guys for a reason, for a purpose? Am I to humble myself? Or am I to teach the knowledge, whatever that knowledge may be? I'm not going to allow you to ask this question or to address me in a manner as such because it's disrespectful, not because of my ego. That fight is with me and myself, first and foremost. Understand? The niyyah, ikhlas, sincerity. I'm only answering this question seeking the face of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or I'm asking this question to show off in front of you, or to be acknowledged, or to make some money, or I'm doing this class for this honorarium. Right? What's the point of me learning knowledge at this point? I've been studying all these years. I graduated from Medina. I know all of the basics. I'm only seeking knowledge and studying and reading these books for the people. So let me stop researching. Let me stop benefiting myself. You get the point? That's the fight. That's the struggle that everyone has to go through. That's the titanic struggle, the huge struggle of humbling yourself, but at the same time knowing that what you wield, what you carry is mighty, it's powerful, right? And by nature, Allah is going to raise the person with knowledge. That's just how things are. You get the point I'm trying to make? It's just the nature of things. Knowledge is going to beautify you. It's going to make you a better person. It's going to enhance your worldly status. So therefore, let me not seek knowledge because I don't want any worldly status. You get it? I don't want to speak because I don't want the people to say, oh, mashallah, mashallah. That fighting, that's a problem that you have to deal with. And you have to seek Allah's help. Clear or not?
No.
No more philosophical stuff. You clear? Clear?
No.
Inshallah.
No.
Fadl.
If I may. So the same way that you said knowledge beautifies you in front of the people, I think even to ourselves, seeking the knowledge, it beautifies ourselves to ourselves.
No question.
Right. So how does a seeker of knowledge who wants to be sincere,
Hamza.
what's the conversation that he's having with himself?
What's the conversation that he's having with himself?
No.
Well, first and foremost, he isn't to think too much. He's thinking too much, that means you're dead already. Because he's thinking, you're stopping, you're not moving. So, who am I going to teach this class for? Blah, 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 blah. You're hesitating, you're done. Teach the class, Bismillah. Give the benefit, Bismillah. Fight yourself. You have the sincerity, inshallah, you move forward. Right? So, that's first and foremost. Is that you cannot hesitate, you can't stutter, you got to keep moving. You know it's khair, you do it. Understand?
No.
Wallahu alam. Fadal, Abir.
AI bring Birmingham, UK. When are you coming back to the UK?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. Hopefully soon, inshallah ta'ala. May Allah bless the brothers and sisters in the noble city of Birmingham.
CH Joshua, Texas. Should one wear a thobe and kufi in places that will cause him mistreatment and bad interactions? Asking from Joshua, Texas, where I'm the only Muslim in a 100-mile radius. 18 years old, by the way.
May Allah bless you, brother Joshua. Bless all.
Brother Cameron Houston.
From Joshua, Texas. Excuse me. Yes. May Allah bless you, and may Allah keep you firm. If you take off your thobe and your kufi, because people will mistreat you or show you prejudice, etc., when will things change? When will things get better? You, perhaps, it's your calling to be the pioneer, to be the martyr. People make fun of you, they hold you up, they pull you over. How long is that going to possibly last for? People are going to, inshallah, respect your courage, even if they're not Muslims. And perhaps you'll put forth a good example for other young men and other young women to have the courage to do that which they know is right. And bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, you can't look at the tip of your nose. 5 years, 10 years, who knows? A whole entire city, Joshua, Texas, may become, inshallah, a Muslim city. You don't know. There's no guarantee. And most importantly, you wear your thobe and your kufi for yourself, not for the people. You can't care about people. And the law is your protector. And they can't do anything to you unless Allah wills it. Wallahu ta'ala alam. Adam.
Sheikh, this question about the nifaq, al-munafiqin, wal-nifaq,
Nasal al-afiyah.
that's the thing. Like, when you know all this hadith and stories that I hear, sometimes that waswas comes in, you know, like, oh, like, I want to do it for this reason, but
قد أجبت على سؤالك. الوسواس. المؤمن يجمع بين الإحسان والشفقة. يخاف على نفسه النفاق ويحسن في عبادة ربه. والمنافق والعياذ بالله بالعكس. يأمن النفاق وهو سيء، كسلان، تعبان، مهمل، مهدر، غير مبالي. أنت معي ولا لا؟ فما دمت تخاف على نفسك النفاق إن شاء الله أنت مؤمن. لكن لا تفكر في زيادة. لا تفكر زيادة. تجيك الوسواس ويعني هذا يقطعك عن الاستمرار والمواصلة. عرفت كيف؟ والله أعلم. أمجد.
In the Quran, it says the disbelievers will be veiled from seeing Allah, and then there's another incident where people will witness the sat, the sat, and the munafiqeen won't be able to prostrate. So is that different from seeing Allah when they see that sign?
طيب. There are different answers with regards to that. Some scholars say is that they will not see Allah, period. And others, they say, rather they will see Allah, everyone will see Allah in the beginning, when they're standing in front of Him, subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then afterwards, as a punishment for them, Allah will veil Himself and screen Himself. Whether the munafiqs are with the believers, step 2, and then step 3, the munafiqs won't see Allah again. Clear on this or not? So perhaps that's the strongest view, is that, and of course Yawm al-Qiyamah is a long day, Yawmun Azim. It's a very long day, and there's steps and stages within that day. So Allah Azza wa Jal mentioned that they will be mahjubun. They will be veiled and screened from seeing Him. Right? And obviously a greater punishment is for them to be shown and then prevented from seeing. So some scholars say that there are different levels and different steps in seeing Allah, ru'yatullah. Clear on that? And the kuffar, munafiqun, mu'minun, mu'minun and munafiqun, last but not least, finally, are the mu'minun, ahlul jannah. Wallahu ta'ala, that's in brief. And of course, there's a long discussion regarding that. Now, Hamza.
So when you make the adhan and the qama, what time should be between each other?
We'll stop here tonight. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala surely knows best. And with Him is all success. Jazakum Allah khairan. Sallallahu sallam wa baraka ala abdihi wa rasulihi nabiyina wa imamina Muhammad.